Real Madrid just brought back the one manager the entire club spent 13 years insisting they'd never bring back. Not because the football world forgot how it ended last time, but because Florentino Perez looked at 2 straight trophyless seasons and decided he'd rather have a proven winner with real enemies than another promising project that keeps almost working. Everything happening at the Bernabeu right now, the signings, the departures, the entire tone of the club, traces back to that one decision. Welcome to Football Detailing, and let's get started. The man is Jose Mourinho, officially confirmed as Real Madrid's manager back in June on a 3-year deal running through 2029, joining on July 13th, the very first day of pre-season. His return became possible for one simple reason. Florentino Perez won re-election as club president in June, and bringing Mourinho back after 13 years away was one of his central campaign promises, alongside pledges to sign Ibrahima Konate and Denzel Dumfries, and to make a €150 million bid for what Perez himself called a genuine Galactico signing. Real Madrid paid Benfica €15 million in compensation just to free Mourinho from his contract there. This wasn't a manager falling into Madrid's lap. This was Perez actively going out and buying back a very specific kind of certainty. So why Mourinho, specifically, right now? Because Real Madrid's last 2 seasons have been a mess of unfulfilled promise. Carlo Ancelotti left for the Brazil job. Xabi Alonso came in with real excitement behind him, and lasted barely 7 months before being sacked following a Supercopa final loss to Barcelona. Álvaro Arbeloa, promoted from the reserves, steadied things only enough to avoid total disaster before Barcelona still ended up clinching the league title with a 2-0 win in an El Clásico that Madrid fans won't be forgetting soon. 2 managers, 2 failed visions, and a fan base that watched Barcelona celebrate a title on their own pitch. Mourinho represents the opposite of all that uncertainty. Whatever else people think of him, nobody questions whether he knows how to organize a defense, win ugly when he has to, and squeeze a trophy out of a season that isn't going perfectly. It's worth remembering just how varied, and at times chaotic, Mourinho's career has actually been since he first left Madrid in 2013. He won a domestic treble at Inter Milan before that first Madrid spell even began, then returned to Chelsea for a second stint that started with a title before unraveling badly. Manchester United brought him in and got a Europa League and League Cup double out of him before an ugly parting of ways. Tottenham hired him with real optimism and sacked him without a single trophy to show for it. He found unlikely, genuine success again at Roma, winning the inaugural Europa Conference League, before that spell also ended in a sacking. Most recently, he'd been quietly rebuilding his reputation at Benfica in Portugal. That's not the resume of a manager who always succeeds. It's the resume of someone who, when things click, wins immediately and ruthlessly, and when they don't, the collapse tends to be just as dramatic. Real Madrid, in bringing him back, are explicitly betting on the former version showing up again, in the building where it worked best the first time. That defensive-first identity is exactly what makes Mourinho such a fascinating fit for this specific squad, and such a genuine shift for the rest of La Liga to account for. His first spell at the club, from 2010 to 2013, delivered a La Liga title in 2011-12, built on one of the most ruthlessly efficient seasons in the competition's history. A then-record 100 points and 121 goals scored, achieved through defensive discipline and lightning transitions, rather than the free-flowing possession football Madrid fans are used to under managers like Ancelotti or Alonso. It broke Barcelona's near-total grip on the league, at a time when Pep Guardiola's side was widely considered one of the greatest club teams ever assembled, which tells you exactly how effective that pragmatic, results-first approach can be even against genuinely superior individual talent. For a Barcelona side that's just spent a season picking Madrid apart, that's a genuinely different problem to prepare for than anything Real Madrid have presented in years. And honestly, the summer business has been relentless, which tells you how seriously the club is taking this reset. Marc Cucurella arrived from Chelsea in a £52 million deal, fresh off winning the World Cup with Spain, finally solving a left-back position that's been a long-standing problem. Denzel Dumfries joined from Inter Milan after Madrid activated his release clause, signing a 4-year deal that gives Mourinho a genuine long-term successor to the departed Dani Carvajal. Ibrahima Konate arrived on a free transfer after his Liverpool contract expired, adding pace, power, and real experience at centre-back. Bernardo Silva joined on a free transfer too, after his Manchester City deal ran out, bringing genuine tactical versatility as an interior midfielder, winger, or number 10. And just this week, Madrid moved fast again, triggering Carlos Espi's release clause at Levante for €25 million. A 21-year-old striker who scored 11 league goals last season and was named the division's best under-23 player, signed on a 5-year deal, specifically to fill the number 9 spot left behind after Gonzalo Garcia's exit. That Garcia sale is worth pausing on, because it's actually part of a bigger story. Real Madrid have agreed to sell both Gonzalo Garcia and fellow academy graduate Cesar Palacios to Fulham in a combined deal worth somewhere close to €50 million, reuniting both young players with Alvaro Arbeloa, who oversaw their development in Madrid's youth setup before managing the first team himself for half a season. It's a pretty smart bit of business either way you look at it. Madrid get to cash in on 2 academy products at good value, while keeping partial economic rights in both, following the exact same model they used just a month earlier when they sold Nico Paz to Como for €60 million, while retaining an €80 million buyback clause in case he ever outgrows Italy. There's still more happening, and this is where it gets genuinely wild. Reports suggest Madrid are closing in on Yan Diomande, an exciting young Ivorian winger from RB Leipzig. But the bigger story, by far, Real Madrid are reportedly increasingly confident of landing the formal Ballon d'Or winner from Manchester City, with a fee somewhere in the region of €40 to €60 million being discussed. A genuine bargain given his stature, and one made possible purely because Rodri has just a single year left on his City contract. Personal terms are already understood to be sorted, and Rodri himself has reportedly turned down interest from Paris Saint-Germain specifically to keep this move alive, motivated in part by winning the World Cup Golden Ball with Spain this summer and wanting to return closer to home. City, understandably, don't want to lose one of the most important midfielders in world football and would much rather tie him down to a new contract, but with his deal running out in 2027, they know the alternative is losing him for nothing if they simply dig their heels in. There's one genuine complication though. Rodri needed back surgery this summer, and nobody's yet put a firm date on when he'll actually be fit again, which is exactly the kind of detail that can still slow a transfer like this down, even when everything else lines up. If it does go through, adding a player of Rodri's caliber, someone who's already won the Champions League, 4 Premier League titles, and the Ballon d'Or, would be one of the single biggest individual statements Real Madrid could make all summer. Not everyone's staying either, and some of the outgoing business says just as much about Mourinho's priorities as the incoming business does. Reports suggest he's already told Eduardo Camavinga directly that he's free to leave if the right move comes along. And centre-back Raúl Asensio, who struggled badly last season and is reportedly seen as blocking the path to a possible move for a player like World Cup winner Aymeric Laporte, looks like one of the more obvious candidates to be sold before the window shuts. Franco Mastantuono has also been made available for a loan, with Tottenham reportedly interested. And then there's the situation that's genuinely dominating every conversation about Real Madrid this summer: Vinicius Jr. The Brazilian has just 1 year left on his contract, and talks over an extension have reportedly stalled completely, with Vinicius wanting wages that match Kylian Mbappe and Real Madrid unwilling to budge, reportedly offering a deal worth around €7 million a year, less than what Mbappe currently earns. Arsenal have been strongly linked as a genuine suitor, with reports suggesting Madrid would want a fee north of £100 million to even consider letting him go. A fee that, combined with wages that would make him the buying club's highest paid player by some distance, has cast real doubt over whether a deal is actually feasible for anyone. Mourinho himself is reported to have already reached his own internal view on whether Madrid should sanction a sale, adding yet another voice into a saga that already involves the players' camp, the club's hierarchy, and at least one interested Premier League suitor. Put all of that together, and you can see exactly why this single appointment changes everything. Not just for Real Madrid, but for every team that has to face them in La Liga and Europe next season. This isn't Ancelotti's expansive, star-driven football, and it isn't the possession-heavy system Xabi Alonso tried and failed to fully install. It's a return to defensive discipline and rugged practicality, layered on top of a squad that's added genuine steel in Cucurella, Dumfries, and Konate, real firepower in Espi, tactical versatility in Bernardo Silva, and quite possibly is about to add a formal Ballon d'Or winner in Rodri, all while still working out whether the most explosive attacking talent in Spanish football stays or goes. It's genuinely worth asking, though, whether this change ends up being a positive one for Real Madrid or a negative one, because Mourinho's man management has always been the other side of that trophy-winning coin. During his first spell in Madrid, his relationship with several senior players grew visibly strained by the end. Similar patterns showed up later at Manchester United and Tottenham, talented squads that played some of the league's most disciplined football for a period before internal relationships soured and results collapsed almost as fast as they'd improved. Vinicius, in particular, is exactly the kind of individualistic, expressive attacking talent whose relationship with a demanding, control-focused manager will be worth watching closely, regardless of whether he's even still at the club by kickoff. If Mourinho's methods click with this group the way they did in 2011-12, Real Madrid could be genuinely frightening again. If they don't, the same approach that's delivered some of his greatest triumphs has, more than once, ended in exactly the kind of ugly, public breakdown Madrid are hoping to avoid. Every rival in La Liga now has to prepare for a version of Real Madrid built to grind out results rather than simply overwhelm opponents with individual brilliance, managed by someone who's already proven, at this exact club, that he knows precisely how to do it. If you enjoyed this breakdown of what Jose Mourinho is actually rebuilding at the Bernabeu, make sure you're subscribed to Football Detailing for more tactical deep dives like this one, and let me know in the comments whether you think this Mourinho reunion ends in silverware or heartbreak, because with this particular manager, at this particular club, history suggests it's rarely ever anything in between.